Okay, so today we are going to discuss the transformation process that occurs when we begin our standing and when we carry on for an extended period of time, both in each session and over the years. So when we settled in first, we settle down, the first thing we feel is the muscles trying to relax and settle down, the weight settling down to the bottoms of the feet as best as it can. Unfortunately, we will generally feel areas, and these will take the forms of kind of odd geometric shapes within the body that we can feel, of places that are too tight or too loose, or places that we can feel, and also of other places where we cannot feel. Okay? Wherever our consciousness can feel, there is the chi. Conversely, in places that we cannot feel, the chi can be blocked. As we continue with our standing, day after day, week after week, those blockages, which were originally felt as very big, as if magnified, it seems like that's all our attention can feel, these will gradually resolve. And as they do, we will become aware in the peripheral sense of our mind, our feeling, of new things, much more subtle. And as we continue, those new things will take on the magnified focus, and another set of things will come to the periphery that we'll just barely be aware of. So this is the process of how we begin, of how the body and mind begins to bring to our attention those areas that we need to work on and open up. Okay? So the first thing we're aware of as well is the left and right balance or imbalance. If you've ever had any injuries on one side or versus the other, things will feel different. And this is okay. We will generally start with this feeling. One side will feel slightly different than the other. What we are looking for is the feeling of relaxation. And with enough practice, you can use your mind and your feeling to get the body to open up and change. But this is a stage that usually comes after a couple of years of practice. In the meantime, what can you do? Okay, well, in the original way it was done, it was considered very simple what you do. You find your center, your physical center, in this case the low dantian, from the back to the front, from the back to the middle, and you hold your feeling. They say the mind stays with the dantian, but it's the mind and the feeling, because in the Chinese the mind is both the heart mind, the shin, and then also the intention, the yi. Okay? So that's why they say the heart or the mind stays in the dantian. But we think of it in the West more like thinking and feeling, seeing, and we can look down, and you just notice there that a shaking began. This shaking is something that should not be discouraged, because this is the body's attempt to correct imbalances. In this case, to take ligaments or tendons or muscles that have been injured and shrunken and to open them up. Or, in other cases, with a more violent shaking, it can actually shrink the tendons where they have been too elongated. So, generally, the lighter shaking affects the muscles in the body. Trembling, you might say. Slight twists and shakes. A more violent shaking, it might look something like this, really bouncing here, is the liver chi and the attempt of the body to influence the tendons and get them to realign. Now this can also, of course, happen with the fascial sheets between the muscles, and later with the organs and even the glands. So, the transformation process, as far as we can guide it at the beginning, can be done in two different ways. One, we can take the old way, and when the mind is calm, this is generally best. Finding our center from the back. Later, you'll use other centers here and here, the middle and upper dantians, but for now, the physical center is best for the healing of the body. The questions that I'm asked a great deal is, well, I put myself in this position, I found my center, and now what? I feel tight over here, I feel old injury over there, whatever it is. How do we work with this? And I will describe two ways. The old way, as we were talking about earlier, is to simply hold your feeling and your attention there, and let the rest of the body, and let that become your prime focus in the center, and the rest will take on a peripheral kinesthetic sense that you will be aware of it, but you will be aware of the center most, and you will feel that awareness extending to the extremities. Okay? If your mind is calm, this is one of the best ways to do. But you may find all of a sudden, as you're settling in, oh, your mind goes to your shoulder because it's tight, and then, oh, it goes over to the hip because it's tight. We call this following the chi. Okay? You can follow the chi this way, and later you can even influence it. But then you're not acknowledging the body's wisdom, meaning that the body knows how to heal itself, and this area in the center contains wisdom of the body, and it will work, and you can watch it work. So a lot of what you're doing is observing. So sometime your mind will go from one place to another. You can simply return it. Other times you may want to work with this area because it's sore and it doesn't feel right. So what do you do? In the case of, let's say, the hip, we will look and use gravity, and you can try to find all the places in the hip and the quad and let them go. Physically, breathe into them, feel them. Make very micro adjustments to the left, to the right, to the front, to the back, but very, very micro. So you can use gravity from above. We will take the station above. Let's say here, if the hip is bothering, let's take the waist, the yao, okay? And take the waist and try to see, because many of these muscles in the hip will come up into here, come up into that area, and see if by relaxing the yao, this part of the front, the side, the back, then you will be able to influence and make a change here. Okay? The same would be true, let's say, of your wrist. If the wrist was sore, you may try to work with the elbow and opening it up. By opening it up, you will influence the wrist. Now, sometimes the origin of the wrist problem is not the elbow, but the shoulder, and it even can be the back and the neck. So this you will find as you continue and as your awareness grows. So after working in various ways for many years, many of these blockages will open up. And how do you know that they've opened up? Well, obviously, if something was sore, the pain will go away. If something was tight, it will feel looser. But what are we looking for? What is the benchmark? The benchmark is relaxation. The ability to feel that this standing and the body have created an alignment and are continuously creating and changing to better this alignment, so that we have a greater connection from the heaven energy through our body, through the man, and to the earth. So heaven, man, and earth.